Time to dive in to the Action Network Luck Rankings, where our analysts, Nick Giffen and Sean Koerner, they take what's called luck percentage, which is the difference between expected and actual win percentage. Unlucky teams are often undervalued, and when there's a large luck disparity between them and their opponents. No Nick Giffen this week. We have Sean Koerner with us on Happy Hour. Hello, Sean. So, using the data and what you and Nick cooked up, you can find these luck rankings over on actionnetwork.com in the free award-winning app. Who are our bottom three teams as far as the unlucky are concerned?
So the third unluckiest team so far this year is the New Orleans Saints. They were actually the unluckiest team of week 7, and they've now been, in the bottom 7 in unlucky teams in 3 of 7 weeks, bottom half in luck in 5 of 7 weeks. So it's been a pretty unlucky season for the Saints, who actually have one of the easiest schedules in the league. So we do think they will get back on track going forward once their luck does eventually improve. Next up with the second unluckiest team is the Bears. They've been bottom 3 in luck in 3 of 7 weeks. And they're 0-2 and 1-score games where both those losses should have actually been wins according to our expected score. They lost to the Broncos where they were expected to win that game. They lost to the Vikings. They were expected to win that one as well. So they've been very unlucky this year. And last but not least, the unluckiest team is the Panthers. Not much to say here other than they played, the Saints where they lost by 3. They lost to the Vikings by 8. So both of their one-score games were losses this year. So in theory, they should be able to get into more one-score games and see the luck change there. But this is one of those situations where the Panthers are not only unlucky, but they are also really, really bad. So that's been a very bad combo to start the year.
Yeah, they're still pretty bad and unlucky, Tim, even though they had a bye week last week. So they had no favors from the rest of the league to move up the ladder. They stay right at the basement of the NFL.
Yeah, 10-point dogs to the bye week last week, I think. But some of these teams, like if you're skeptical, I'm one who says if you suck, you just suck. You create your own luck, but I actually do a breakdown on these with Nick Giffen now on the Action Network's YouTube channel, and he lays out some of these scenarios as we kind of go through the film, and you'll see situations like Atlanta last week. Desmond Ridder fumbles the ball 3 times in goal-to-go situations. So it makes you, if you're a natural skeptic like myself, I'm telling you, when you read into the luck rankings and you see how they really got there and they paint the picture, it helps. And it also helps if you lost your bet in that way. It makes it feel a little bit better. I just wish I could hand Bet365 the clips from that Nick Giffen had, and maybe they'd refund me. But anyway, that's besides the fact. That would make me very lucky. So Nick, or Sean rather, tell us who the lucky teams are in the NFL.
Yeah, so the third luckiest team is the Eagles. They're 3-1 in 1-score games, including the OT win over the Commanders. They were actually the luckiest team in week 1 with their 25-20 win over the Patriots, which now looks like a lot worse result than it did back then. They played more. It's kind of like the Panthers, right? They're a bad team, and they've been unlucky. Look, the Eagles are still one of the best teams in the league, but they've also benefited a little bit from luck. So they played more like a 5-2 team than a 6-1 team based on our expected score. So again, they're a really good team, but they've been aided by luck a bit. The second luckiest team is actually the Bengals. They were the third most lucky team in week 6 in that win against the Seahawks. They're 2-1 in 1-score games this year. Both those wins were actually losses, or expected to be losses based on our expected score, versus the Rams and the Seahawks. Their 1-score loss against the Ravens should have actually been a bigger loss. They benefited quite a bit from luck this year. And last but not least, the luckiest team so far this season has been the Pittsburgh Steelers. They've been exactly the second most lucky team in 3 of 6 weeks this year. They're 4-0 in 1-score games this year. The 2 losses were blowouts. So they've just benefited a ton from 1-score game luck. And they're actually the luckiest team we've had in luck rankings over the last 6 years at this point in the season.
Yeah, I also want to jump and say that when we apply the what we've learned here from Sean, it doesn't necessarily mean that the following week is, fade this team, bet on this team, but also for going forward. Hey, this matchup looks good because also Pittsburgh has been super lucky. So it's good to see it on a trend from as the season goes on. It's not necessarily always a play automatically. So that's what I've learned from Nick, at least, in that I always just want to immediately fade and follow, but it doesn't work like that all the time.
So you say that, and now I'm like, well, do I not take Mike Tomlin a rah-rah home underdog spot this week against Jacksonville? Because, and oh, by the way, Kenny Pickett, pretty good fourth quarter quarterback, like quarterback rating over 100. Now that doesn't negate what the luck rankings tell us about their luck in these one-score games. Kenny Pickett's played pretty well in the fourth quarter in these close games. So with all of this data, again, you can find the full luck rankings breakdown in the app. Really fine job by Koerner and Nick Giffen as the year goes on. Really fascinating stuff. We've only identified one luck game, and it's a game that has a lot now all of a sudden, Koerner, to pick apart from. We'll get to the newsworthy element in just a moment. Tell us the game and just speak to the game generally, and then we'll get into the quarterback situation.
Yeah, so in the context of the luck rankings, this Bengals-Niners game sticks out. It's a luck difference of 26 in favor of the 49ers. They've been the unlucky team of the two. The Niners have been the fifth unluckiest team, whereas the Bengals, like I mentioned, have been the second luckiest team of the year. The Niners are coming off the second most unlucky result last week against the Vikings. We all saw it on Monday night. They had a 57% offensive success rate, but still lost, 22-17. Obviously that, Christian McCaffrey fumble early on in the red zone was massive. Moody missed that 40-yard field goal. Purdy had those two late interceptions in the game in mini territory. And then Addison had that sort of 50-50 ball that could have been an interception, but it turned out to be a 60-yard touchdown. Plus, the Bengals were the third most lucky team the last time they played back in week 6 against the Seahawks. Seattle had 4 second-half drives inside Cincy's 10-yard line and just came away with 3 points. So Cincy was extremely lucky to come away with the win there. So this definitely sticks out as a luck ranking game. But as you said, there's some pretty big news with the quarterback situation here.
Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan, coming from his mouth, this is not a report, he said that Brock Purdy is in concussion protocol, unlikely to play, and it means Sam Darnold is now in line to start Sunday's game. The line has moved from Niners -5.5 to 3.5. Koerner, your thoughts, and tell the people how they should process this news. Stay put, act now, wait a bit. What's the approach?
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, I, along with the market, is still processing this. We've only had a few minutes now to think about it, but going from 5.5 to 3.5 is just a 2-point line move. It isn't as big as you'd expect it to be for a starting quarterback to go down. I wonder if there's still, some room for Purdy potentially playing this week. Maybe that's why it stopped at 3.5, but going from 3.5 to 3 is a massive half point. So I think the market's just kind of waiting to see. But yeah, going from Brock Purdy to Sam Darnold might not be that big of a drop off. Sam Darnold's a solid backup quarterback. I mean, he has been a starting quarterback the past few seasons, former first round talent. He's in a scheme that can allow any quarterback to thrive, really. So it might not be as big of a drop off as people think. I will note that, Deebo Samuel's already ruled out this week. Trent Williams might miss again. If that happens, we could see this go down to 3. But I'm just kind of surprised it's still at -3.5. Obviously, in the context of the luck rankings, we do like the Niners here. So I wouldn't necessarily lock in the -3.5 right now. I'd wait and see if this potentially does go down to the key number of 3. I don't see why it wouldn't. So this is one I'm definitely going to wait until it hopefully goes down to -3, even -2.5. But there's no reason, I think, to lock in the Niners -3.5 right now.
Action Pro, using the Action app, 69% of the bets, 58% of the cash on Cincinnati. Now, who knows if that's updated based on if it's 5.5 money or 3.5. That's fair. Tim, you got a thought on this with Sam Darnold starting instead of Brock Purdy against the Bengals?
Yeah, I think Sean kind of said it's not as big of a drop off as people might think. I think the public sentiment is that is that Purdy and Darnold are close. I think the general population likes to believe, especially with this play as of late, that Purdy is not that of a top tier quarterback, and he really is kind of just a Sam Darnold in a really good system. So I'm interested to see. This is an odd scenario in terms of the public sentiment's like, you usually overreact to quarterbacks being out, but this, I think the reaction could go the other way. So interesting note, and we'll just top it off, Koerner. It's easier, we don't have to pick sides here. We're picking totals. We have luck over unders. What do you got for us?
Yeah, so there's actually 5 luck totals towards the under this week that have a -5 rating or lower. And luck totals with lower than a -5 rating from week 3 to the end of season have now hit at a 60% clip over the last 6 years, including 15-7 this year, a nice 68% clip. So those 5 games where we're showing some value on the under are the Saints Colts game, Chiefs Broncos game, Patriots versus Dolphins, Eagles versus Commanders, and the Bears Chargers are all signaling the under according to our luck totals.
Yeah, sounds like a ton of fun, Sean. Betting on more unders. Can't
You don't love a good under bet?
Oh, I hate it. I hate it.
I think nothing more fun than rooting for an under.
Tim hates the league right now. Tim is down on the NFL right now. He hates all the defense and he hates all the officiating. He's down on the league right now. He wants more offense.
It's poor O-line play. I said, it's easier. I kind of like teased it, say, it's easier. We don't have to pick a side here. This is just over-unders, but it's not easier because I hate betting unders and it's just excruciating. So yeah, thanks, Sean. Looking forward to it. With that, I'll kick you out of here as I rush to the window and go bet some unders. Great. Thanks, Sean.